Lipids are organic compounds that do not dissolve in water. In cells, lipids have three important functions, one of which is energy storage. In fact, they have about twice as much energy as carbohydrates. They also form a very important structural components of membranes, so membranes around cells, but also membranes around organelles. They also help to transmit chemical signals both within and between cells. Lipids are made up of the elements carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. I'll talk about three different types of lipids: triglycerides, sterols, and waxes in this video. However, another important group called phospholipids form the majority of cell membranes, and I'll be covering these in more detail when we talk about the cell membrane. Triglycerides consist of three long hydrocarbon chains called fatty acids bonded to glycerol in a dehydration reaction. Glycerol is a three-carbon molecule that forms the backbone of the triglyceride. So this whole thing here is a triglyceride molecule, and its backbone is the glycerol. And these chains here are the 1, 2, 3 fatty acids, which give the molecule its name, triglyceride. Dieters try to avoid triglycerides, commonly known as fats. Red meat, butter, margarine, oil, cream cheese, and chocolate are all examples of high-fat foods. Nutrition labels divide these fats into two groups: saturated and unsaturated. And the degree of saturation is a measure of fatty acid hydrogen content. Saturated fatty acids contain all the hydrogens they possibly can. The saturation refers to the number of hydrogens bonded to each carbon atom. Saturated fatty acids only contain single bonds between carbons and hydrogen atoms. So, for example, if you have a look at each of these fatty acids in this triglyceride, there only is a single bond between each of the carbon molecules and the hydrogen molecules. So most nutritionists recommend diets low in saturated fats due to their tendency to clog arteries. Make sure you remember single bonds equals saturated. Animal fats are saturated and tend to be solid, such as bacon and butter. Unsaturated fatty acids have at least one double bond between carbon atoms. These double bonds cause kinks to form in the fatty acid tails, producing an oily liquid consistency at room temperature. Olive oil, for example, is a saturated fat, as are most plant-derived lipids. These fats are healthier than saturated fats. Here are examples of the double bonds that are forming in the tail of your fatty acid, which gives it this kink in the tail. So, unsaturated equals double bonds. Sterols are lipids that have 4 interconnected carbon rings. Vitamin D and cortisone are examples of sterols, as is cholesterol. Cholesterol is a key part of animal cell membranes. In addition, animal cells use cholesterol as a starting material to make other lipids, including the sex hormones testosterone and estrogen. Waxes of fatty acids combine with alcohols or other hydrocarbons, usually forming a stiff, water-repellent material. The waxy compartments of a honeycomb may hold pollen, honey, or larval bees. In other species, waxes keep fur, feathers, leaves, fruits, and stems waterproof.